Hi everyone, welcome back to Abbi's Digital Nook. I'm Abbi, and today we need to have a serious talk about the major new feature Audible just announced. If you've seen the headlines, they are acting like they just invented fire. But let's look at what the rest of the world is saying about this innovation. According to Tech Digest, this is actually a major shift for Audible to move away from being just an audio app. Their research shows that when we read and listen at the same time, we consume nearly twice as much content every month. So, surprise, surprise, it's not about your reading experience, it's about their engagement metrics. In fact, tech analyst Paul Thurrott points out that multimodal users like us are actually the company's most profitable customers. It's a triple dip. They want us to buy the audio, buy the digital, and as ZDNET reports, they are even testing links to buy the physical book right in the app. And why the rush to launch this now? The new publishing standard notes that Audible is terrified of Spotify, which just launched its own page match feature. Amazon isn't innovating, they're just building a bigger wall around their garden. Even mainstream tech sites like Android Authority and Android Police are calling out the rough edges. They've noted that the new science of cognitive retention they're pushing is actually based on the same immersion reading we have had since 2012, confirming that this is just a repackaged idea. Plus, they've highlighted the massive sync lags and the cost barrier of being forced to pay for the same book twice. The internet's reaction has been just as skeptical. This news was even posted on Reddit's Not the Onion, a place for headlines so ridiculous they sound like a joke. Users there are already sharing hacks confirming that if you borrow an ebook via Libby and send it to your Kindle, the Audible app will still let you read and listen for free. So while Find article says Amazon is just putting reading minutes where their customers already spend time, we know the truth. It's a UI skin of a feature we already own, designed to keep us from wandering over to Spotify. Now, on the surface, that sounds great. But if you have been a digital reader for more than 5 minutes, you probably have the same look on your face that I do, because this isn't a new feature. In fact, it's a blatant duplicate of a feature we have had for over a decade. Since roughly 2012, Amazon has had something called Immersion reading. If you've owned a Kindle book and the Audible narration, you could open your Kindle app, hit play, and watch the text highlight. It worked and works perfectly. So why is Audible, an Amazon-owned company, re-releasing this inside the Audible app in 2026? They've just copy-pasted the code and put a new sticker on it. But here is the part that really grinds my gears. Audible is making this huge deal about reading with your eyes inside their app. But what about the actual Kindle devices? If you own a Kindle Paperwhite, an Oasis, or even the new Kindle Colorsoft, guess what? This update changes absolutely nothing for you. Despite years of us asking, you still cannot read and listen simultaneously on a Kindle e-reader. You can listen via Bluetooth or you can read the text, but you cannot do both at the same time with highlighting. So Amazon has enough resources to build a duplicate version of this feature for the Audible phone app, but they still won't give it to the people who actually bought their dedicated reading hardware. If you want to read and listen, you are still tethered to your phone or tablet screen. For a company that claims to care about the reading experience, leaving their E-ink customers out of the loop, to me, feels like a massive oversight. So because this is a now feature in two separate apps, you're looking at a massive case of digital bloat. Alright, since it is here, I want to show you how to actually find and use it, because it is a little bit buried. So let's get into it. Step 1, the update. First, make sure your app is updated to the latest version. I've already updated on my phone. I'm going to quickly update it on my iPad as well. Then head to your library tab. You'll notice a new read and listen filter at the top. This is actually helpful. It scans your Kindle library and shows you exactly which books you own in both formats. I think this is a great feature. Step 2, the toggle. You'll see a toggle that says listen or read and listen. Tap that. Suddenly, the player transforms into a text reader. Step 3, the interaction. As it plays, the text highlights. You can tap any word to jump the audio to that exact spot. It looks nice, I'll give it that. But here's the kicker. Go into your phone storage settings, look at the Audible app's data size, then look at your Kindle app's data size. If you've downloaded the audiobook for this in both, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You're paying for that convenience with your gigabytes. And let's talk about the cost. If this were a true Audible update, wouldn't it be revolutionary if they gave us the text for free? But no, the requirement is exactly the same as it's always been. You have to buy the Kindle ebook and you have to buy the Audible narration. Even if you are a Premium Plus subscriber, you don't get the read part unless you go over to the Kindle store and spend more money. Audible's leadership mentioned that Immersion readers consume twice as much content. Of course they do. They're paying for the book twice. It's a brilliant business move for Amazon to keep you locked into the Audible app where they can show you more ads and recommendations rather than letting you use the superior reading tools in the Kindle app. Does having this inside the Audible apps actually change your workflow, or is it just unnecessary clutter? If you appreciate this honest breakdown, hit that like button. It really helps the channel get seen, and make sure to subscribe to Abbi's Digital Nook so that you do not miss the next time that we pull back the curtain on these major tech updates. Think about how this works. To use Read and Listen inside the Audible app, you have to download that chunky audiobook file into your Audible library. But if you also want the flexibility of reading that same book in the Kindle app, the Kindle app also makes you download that narration file to sync the text. You are effectively keeping two massive identical copies of the same high quality audio file on your phone. We are being forced to store duplicates just because Amazon can't figure out how to bridge their two apps properly. If you have a 120 gigabyte phone, you might not care, but if you're tight on space, this could potentially be a nightmare. Okay, let's take a look at the side by side because this is where the logic really falls apart for me. On one hand, you have the Kindle app's immersion reading, which has been the gold standard since 2012. It gives you full control over the fonts, the margins, and that sweet Readwise integration for your highlights. On the other hand, we've had the new Audible version. It's basically the light version of the Kindle experience. You lose all the advanced typography settings, and for what? Just so you don't have to switch apps? To me, that trade-off isn't worth the double download on my phone. We're effectively being sold the same car twice, just a different color steering wheel. Let's take a look at Audible versus Kindle. Their primary goal. Audible's primary goal is to listen first and then see the text on the side. Kindle's goal is to read first and then add audio to the page. And Audible, yes, it does real-time sync, word by word highlighting, same for Kindle. The cost is that you must own both the audio and ebook for both Kindle immersion reading or Audible read and listen. When it comes to Audible, the text customization is limited. You've got basic size and contrast. For Kindle immersion reading, you've got full fonts, margins, themes, etc. Everything that you would get from using your Kindle. With Audible, you've got your Audible bookmarks and clips as you always had, but with Kindle, we have our highlighting, our notes, our Readwise sync, all the things that make Kindle Kindle. Then when it comes to storage usage, it downloads the file in Audible, and when it comes to Kindle, it downloads the audio file in Kindle. So the duplicate factor is that you have duplicate file 1, duplicate file 2. So I don't know. You tell me if you think this is worth it. I personally can't see the benefit, but let's continue our journey. Okay, so is there anyone that this actually helps? Maybe the ultra casual listener who hates switching apps, but for the power readers here in the Nook, to me this kind of feels like a distraction. It's a way to generate headlines for Amazon without actually being innovative, and it still ignores the millions of us who use the Kindle e-readers. So what do you think? Are you annoyed that your Paperwhite still can't do this? Instead of giving us better library organization or a bundled price for audio and text, they gave us a duplicate that eats our storage. I want to know your real talk in the comments. Am I being a little bit too cynical, or are you also tired of seeing the new features that we've been using for 10 years? I've talked about many ways that you can listen to your audiobooks on your actual Kindle device so many times, and you can find videos on it on my channel, and I'll link the playlist down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!